That was one of the best games of the playoffs I've seen in quite some time. I just finished watching Denver versus OKC Game 3. Little hack, by the way. If you know there is a good game of NBA on, playoffs, even better. If you know, that sounds like an advertisement, but if you know there is a good game of basketball on and you, one, can't watch it live, two, don't. I know it sounds funny, but in terms of, I used to fall into the trap of, hey, I'm going to try to do my best to keep up with this in real time, but not actually take any of it in for myself. You're on your phone, you're checking all the updates, you're checking Twitter, you're checking whatever you can to make it seem like you're watching it in real time, but you're not. I watched this thing on delay without any spoilers whatsoever, and it was great. It was very, very enjoyable. I'll tell you why. One, it was just a beautiful brand of NBA basketball. That's very sentimental, but I mean that because I feel like these days people are so quick to criticize what the NBA is. There's too many threes. There's not enough positive media. It's not physical enough. I agree with a lot of that. There is too many threes, especially watching Boston Game 2 or Boston Game 1. Whatever the game was where they chucked up 63s and the end of the game was just Jason Tatum like taking ISO threes, bricking him, not looking good. I'm not trying to make this a thing about Jason Tatum, but I'm trying to say Denver OKC was a great brand of NBA basketball. And if I was having an argument with someone that was like, hey, the NBA is not a good brand, it just doesn't do it for me anymore, I'd send them that game. Go watch that game. It had everything I enjoyed because I'm not saying they didn't have three-pointers made, three-pointers missed. I'm not saying they didn't do that side of the ball, and that is the error, that you're never going to have an NBA game where there's not a lot of threes taken. But what I'm trying to say is they had the balance right. I think they had the balance perfect. You look at the mid-range. I love the mid-range game just because it appeals to me. And I know the analytics, the heads that say, like, it's just not a smart brand of basketball because you can obviously score more points per possession using three-pointers. I get that. But you look at the mid-range game from the people like Jamal Murray, Jalen Williams, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, I was about to say Michael Porter Jr., but not really. He just chucks up threes. But he was great. But Jalen Williams and Jamal Murray are the two guys I focus in the mid-range area because that's what they do. They're so crafty. They get to that point. They get to that paint. And it's good to watch. It was just a great brand of basketball. Then you go from the mid-range to post-game. Nikola Jokic struggled the hell out of himself this game. That did not make sense, but he did not shoot well. 8 of 25. Not good. But at least he was in the post, banging down low, trying to throw Chet off his spot and actually trying to, post up. Play that game. It wasn't just threes. This is my point here. Then you've got the wings attacking the paint. You've got Russ being Russ. That's a great thing, by the way. That's not even a bad thing. I feel like people are too quick to criticize Russell Westbrook when I feel like he's a great watch in terms of. I might not be saying this if he was on my team. I might be like, hey, calm down. Like, just chill. Know what you're doing out there. Like, be smart with the ball. But when you're watching, he's great. He's great to watch as like a neutral fan because you don't know what he's going to do. And that's probably why, to be honest, people don't really love his game sometimes. But you don't know what he's going to do, and he's being really effective for Denver. You've got that. But then you've got the threes. And one thing I will say is if you have less threes in a game, it means you're going to appreciate them more. If that makes sense. It makes perfect sense to me. You're not going to see a three-ball chuck down every single possession. You're not. So when it does happen and when it's good ball movement that leads to it, or even like ISO ball, I'm not saying ISO three balls are bad, but if they happen every single possession or every second possession, they are bad. They're not good to watch. So I was just saying the blend of this game of basketball, of NBA basketball, is just a great brand. It was great. And yes, a big part of it was the fact that it was close the entire way. Pretty much close the entire way. Denver OKC, no one really made a run that the other one couldn't withstand, and it was just great to watch from that viewership angle. I'm going to keep saying those words. It was great to watch. It was an elite game, one of the best playoff games I've seen. And I've got 3 things I want to shout out. At the top of mine, call them the subheadings. That was the headline, the fact that this was one of the best playoff games I've seen in a while. But there's 3 subheadings. Number 1, watching Nikola Jokic struggle was just really odd, if I'm being honest. We are used to this guy, the 2-time MVP, the one of the best players in the comp, the best player in the comp. I don't know. We're used to seeing him dominate the game in an efficient fashion. The efficiency is the number one thing that I go to, that I think of. Normally when I see Nikola Jokic's line, I look at that box score, I look at that field goal percentage, and sometimes it's ridiculous. Yes, sometimes he's going to shoot 30%, whatever, 40%, 50, maybe that's more 3-point, whatever. If you're shooting 30% from the field, you're probably not shooting that well. But what I'm trying to say is that man is normally efficient. So when he's not, it's very odd. And you got to give credit to OKC's defense. Isaiah Hartenstein, the two matching up, him and Chet are the two matching up to Jokic, I guess, in a one-on-one sense. But the commentary team did a good job of making this clear to the fan as well. Like, you look at those OKC guards sort of swarm him. SGA did it a number of times. Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Jalen Williams. These guys swarm him when he's in the paint. And it's like a team effort. They kind of just like get to him and frustrate him. Credit to Jokic as well. Those games when you were 8 of 25 shooting, it'd be very easy to get frustrated. But he did. But it's not like he's one of those players that are going to get text heaps or like just lose the absolute control of himself and like, hello, Draymond Green, do things like that. He's not. He might get frustrated and I was about to say take bad shots, but I don't even think he takes bad shots. We'll see. The funny thing is about this as well. I'm going to read off his line. So I mentioned it before, 8 of 25 shooting. Not good. 0 of 10 3-pointers. Not good. Maybe they should just stop taking threes altogether. 8 turnovers. Not good. But then you take a step back and you're like, hey, how did Nikola Jokic do today? Let's look at his box score. 20 points, 16 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Pretty good. It's quite funny how good he is when he's not even, I was going to say when he's not trying to be good, but when he's not having a good game. Quote unquote, good game. Because that line there, you look at that and you're like, I'd love if my favorite player could have that line. The 8 of 25 isn't good, but it just goes to show what a beast he is, even if he's struggling. But it was super weird watching him struggle. I will say that much. And you could say it's not going to happen again. I don't think it will. But the turnovers, it's kind of what happened in that game too, when they lost by 33 points somehow. Not sure how that was the case. Also, last point on the Nikola Jokic struggling. The headlines and what people are talking about, what I'm talking about is Nikola Jokic struggling. Because him struggling is a big deal. He was 8 of 25. But you look at who's the other guy on the opposition who's equivalent to him. They're the MVP contenders. When are they announcing that, by the way? I don't know. But SGA himself was 7 of 22 is the point I'm trying to make. 7 of 22 when Jokic was 8 of 25. Pretty similar. But you could easily see Nikola Jokic's struggles more than Shea. Interesting. Point 2. The second tier stars just were awesome. Jamal Murray, Jalen Williams. It just goes to show how important, again, we know this isn't anything different, but it goes to show how important those guys are, second tier stars are in a playoff series. And they can, both of these guys, probably Jamal Murray more than Jalen Williams right now, but these guys can win games by themselves and they can win playoff games by themselves. Jamal Murray has shown this. Jamal Murray is so fascinating because there's this, tell me if I'm wrong here, but there's this perception that you hear media members talk about that Jamal Murray always rocks up to training camp, to regular season, to probably preseason, but he rocks up in not a great shape, in not great nick. And by the time the playoffs come around, that's when he's primed. That's when he's good. You think about the chatter about people like Luka Doncic and their body types and their body types and their exhaustion levels and their shape, just pretty much like how far they can run. But you get what I'm trying to say. Their fitness levels is the better way to describe this. People said Jamal Murray is kind of known to do that, like rocks up to preseason and sort of, yeah, whatever. But then this is when he kind of shows his stuff. And he's one of the most talented offensive players we have. And he goes to show, he does this time and time again. Today was another one of those games. Like just watching him, so smooth, so like, he's almost like casual in a point on offense. Like it's kind of weird to say casual because that's not a good term, but he's almost like that confident that he can be casual. And some of the moves he even tries are actually quite funny because he kind of ends up in a sort of a spiral, does like 360-degree layups. There was a time there where he was just, it looked like he was almost just trying to have fun. He ended up getting fouled, but it was a funny shot attempt. But he's just one of the best, almost like playoff performers, big time performers. Even if the regular season isn't his jam, the preseason isn't his jam, who cares? If you can do this, if you can lead your team to a win over the number 1 seed in the West when your best player is 8 of 25, you are a hell of a talent to have on your team. Just a super smooth guy. And Jalen Williams, Look, when I think of Jalen Williams, like I know he's a star by now, like a second tier star to this team. I know that. But when I still think of him, I think of him as like that versatile defender athlete. But he has a whole lot more to his offensive game than I probably realized and people probably realized. Like even some of the moves he was attempting today was really like impressive. There was one, I think it was a period during the third quarter where he was kind of like owning that moment. Nobody else was really rolling. He did like someone reached and he straight, I think it was Peyton Watson reached on him on a break and he did like that behind the back. He started on his right, put it around his body on his right. The video of this is much easier to explain, show if you can see me, but I'm explaining it well. But it was just a really slick move and something that I was like, hey, this guy's got something. So he just scores in a number of different ways. Like the mid range, I spoke of that earlier. Then when his threes do drop, he hit one. He was in the fourth quarter where they kind of needed it. Even OT, there was a big 3 or 2 by him. 3 or 2. There was a big 3 or 2 by him that just like, it looked smooth and it looked great because you see the versatile nature of his game before that. Another great reason of when the game is balanced, when the NBA game is balanced, you appreciate these things a lot more. So Jalen Williams was awesome. Just great. One of those guys that I had a feeling that people would, and myself included, I had a feeling people would appreciate him more on this stage. And he's proven me right. So I don't know what SGA is going to do moving forward, but he didn't have the best game. But when you've got someone like Jalen Williams backing you up and sort of rolling like that, 32 points in this game, you're pretty lucky. You're doing all right. Next one. This Denver team, I repeat, this Denver team is a championship team. And when I say this team, I purely mean Game 3 Denver. Because the thing that really confuses me, they've got everything. They've got that MVP. He's a literal MVP. He's not just saying he's like an MVP caliber. He's a proven MVP player, Nikola Jokic. Jamal Murray, the second tier star. You almost got like Aaron Gordon as the third string star in a way, especially these players. He's been huge and he comes up huge moments, shooting the 3 like really well. Well, as of late, in the big moments, like there was one today that I think he tied the game down the stretch with 30 seconds left. That was huge, obviously. So he's kind of like that third string star, even though you still think of him as like that athlete, defender, that type of thing. Michael Porter Jr., just like, he's got a bung shoulder. And he was awesome today. Like, you looked at that thing and the size of the padding and you're like, how can this guy sort of shoot? But obviously it's on his left shoulder, so it's not that bad. But he was awesome for them. And I really like it when players like him, he's known for his shooting, not his defense or his hustle or anything like that. Not the dirt. He's not a dirty type of player in the best type of way. But when he is on the ground and when he is doing those things, you're like, hey, okay, this game means something. And it's you kind of root for someone like that when he's doing things like that. Next one, Russell Westbrook. Obviously, every team needs a Russ. And I feel like when you have a Russell Westbrook on your team, you kind of need that in playoff time. One, he's been there before. Yes, he's chaotic. Yes, he's sort of confusing. Yes, you don't really know what he's going to do. But either does a defense. And that clearly would work. When you read it like that, that clearly would work for Denver when nobody knows what he's going to do. I really think you need a player like that, a kind of chaotic type of guy that has been there before, has a ton of talent still, even if he's older. I really like what he brings to this team. And people always talk about how much Nikola Jokic trusts him as well. So they have everything you have. And then they come out to Game 3 and you're like, well, awesome. They look great. They look like a championship team. They look like that team that did win the championship 2 years ago or whatever it was. How do you go from that to Game 2 when you lose by 33 points and just look awful, especially as like a veteran team? It's not even like you're a young team or like a Cavs or an OKC. Like if OKC did that, you could almost forgive them because they're young and they haven't really been here before besides from, like Isaiah Hartenstein for that New York run. Like who else has been there? You could forgive that. But when a team who has won the championship and has been there before, has an MVP, when they lose by 33 points, it's very confusing and concerning almost. So it confuses me whether they are a championship contending team once again, which I think they are, but very odd when you have a game like that, losing by 33 points. But that's why I say Game 3. This Denver team is a championship team. So that will be very interesting to see how that series goes. And it kind of speaks to the unpredictable nature. I'll finish on this. It speaks to the unpredictable nature of the NBA right now. Like people talk about the brand of basketball, which comes in full circle. So I've done this well, but it comes in when people talk about the negative brand of NBA. The 3-point era, the negative media, I've talked about this. But when you really don't know what's going to happen in the playoffs and you really don't know who the championship favorite is right now, that's awesome. That's a great thing. And every fan should love that. So it's very easy to nitpick the NBA, and sometimes it is dramatic. Sometimes it is predictable. But right now it really is not. I have no idea who's going to win. If you put my finger and told me I had to, that's not even an expression, but if you asked me who I thought would win the championship right now, I feel I've got a habit of sitting on the fence, but I'm going with OKC, even though they're hit and miss. They're young. Shea walked off the court, by the way, with a smile today, so make of that what you will. Maybe he just knows he has to pull it together, and maybe OKC will. I'm picking them.